Hello ladies, welcome to the next video in Foundations. In the previous video we talked about the nominative and the accusative case endings. This video we're going to talk about the genitive and the dative case endings. Now remember, the reason why we're learning all of these endings is because they refer to particular Latin cases, and therefore they are telling us what the function of the noun is. So let's review. I know you've already learned this stuff, but it's always nice to do a little review from time to time. What's in an ending? Okay, why do we have to know the endings? Well, you need to know the genitive ending for essentially three reasons. The first is that the genitive ending tells you that the noun is functioning as a possession, okay, that noun is showing possession over another noun. But the genitive form does so much more than that. In addition to telling you that the noun itself is functioning as a possession, you need to know the genitive ending so that you can figure out which declension the noun is in. So remember, any noun that has a genitive ending of AE is in the first declension. Anyone that has a genitive ending as a long I is in the second declension, and any genitive ending, any noun that has a genitive ending in the IS is a third declension noun. The other reason why you need to know the genitive ending is so that you can get the noun base. Remember, you get the noun base onto which you add all the other endings by removing the genitive ending from the genitive form. And remember that the dictionary entry always has the genitive form in it. It's the second word in the dictionary entry. So why do we need dative endings? Because datives are going to show us indirect object. Okay, so here are the genitive endings for the first, second, and third declension. Genitive singular for the first declension is an AE. Genitive singular for the second declension is a long I, and genitive singular for the third declension is an IS. In the plural, the genitive endings for the first declension is an ARUM, arum. Second declension is ORUM, orum, and third declension is just a UM, Okay, dative endings. In the singular, first declension, AE, pronounced I. Second declension, O. Third declension, E. In the plural, the first and second declension have the same ending. It's a long IS, pronounced ease. And in the third declension, it is ibis. Always amusingly said, ibis. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples of genitives and datives. For puella puellae, which means girl, we have puellae and puellae in the singular genitive and singular dative. So you guys will notice that some of these endings repeat, especially this AE ending in the first declension. So we're going to have to develop some strategies to know when we encounter Latin sentences whether we should translate puellae as nominative plural, genitive singular, or dative singular. Genitive plural, puellarum. Dative plural, puellis. Puer pueri, we get pueri, puero, puerorum, pueris. For our third declension noun, homo hominis, genitive is hominis, dative homini, plural genitive hominum, dative hominibus. And then for our second declension noun, filius filii, the genitive is filii, dative filio, plural genitive filiorum, plural dative filiis. Okay, so that leads us to being able to do a general declension in at least 4 of the cases for first, second, and third declension nouns. Now, you will notice that I have offered some translations on how to translate a nominative singular form of puella. Since nominative tells us the subject, you can just translate this the girl. Now, you will notice that Latin does not have a word for the or for a, or for an. You just have to add it yourself. You could also translate this a girl, okay? Genitive can translate two ways in English because it shows possession. It can translate of the girl or the girls with the apostrophe S. Puellae as a dative indirect object can translate to the girl or for the girl. And the accusative, because it is a direct object, just translates like this, like the nominative, the girl. And then the same in the plural. Puellae, the girls. Puellarum, of the girls or the girls, S apostrophe. That shows plural possession in English. Apostrophe S shows singular possession in English. Puellis, to or for the girls, and then puellas, the girls. Now, I have gone through and given you this declension in the four cases for second declension nouns puer, pueri, and filius, filii, as we'll see on the next one. So, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative in the singular and the plural. Singular puer, pueri, puero, puerum. Plural pueri, puerorum, pueris, pueros. Notice that I'm giving you the noun base as well, so you know onto what base you're going to be putting these endings. Second declension noun, filius, filii. So filius, filii, filio, filium, filii, filiorum, filius, filiis, filios. And then our third declension noun, homo, hominis. Again, remember that the third declension is where it is so important that you get your noun base from the genitive form, not the nominative form, because you can see how different the genitive is from the nominative. So, homo, hominis, hominy, hominem. In the plural, homines, hominum, hominibus, and homines. Okay, so now that you know what the case endings are, now that you know how the cases function, you are able to translate simple sentences into English. So, I would like for you to write down these example sentences that we did in the Latin nouns video. The girl loves the boy, and the farmer's daughter gives roses to the boy. We already identified these sentences by their function, so we already know that the girl is the subject of this first sentence and that the boy is the direct object. We already know that farmer is showing possession, daughter is the subject, roses is the direct object, and boy is the indirect object for this second sentence. What this means is that you guys now have all the information you need to translate these two sentences into Latin. I've given you the dictionary entry for any of the words that you don't already know. I've also given you the verbs that you will need for the sentence. Actually, this verb here is dot, D-A-T. It's on the next page, on the next slide. And you now have the dictionary entry for each of the words, and therefore you can form the corresponding cases for a subject and a direct object, which would be a nominative and an accusative. For a possession, subject, direct object, indirect object. That is a genitive, a nominative, an accusative, and a dative. How are you going to make puella the subject? How are you going to make puer, pueri the direct object? What ending are you going to be putting on the base? How are you going to make agricola, agricolae, which means farmer, into a genitive singular? How are you going to make philia, filii into a nominative subject? How are you going to make rosa, rosae into a direct object plural accusative? And how are you going to make puer, pueri into the indirect object? Let me give you a second to write this down in your notes, because on the next slide I show you. So puella is the nominative form of the girl, and since the girl is the subject, it has to be in the nominative. Here we go, puella. Boy is the direct object, it has to be accusative, so we put the accusative ending on puerum, and then amat is how you say loves. In the next sentence, farmer is genitive, so we have the genitive form, agricolae. Daughter is the subject, so we have the nominative form, philia. Roses is the accusative direct object, and it is plural. And boy is our indirect object, therefore going into the dative, puero. Okay, ladies, you guys will work on a little worksheet in class to reinforce what you just learned in this video. In the meantime, ask me any questions if you're confused. All right, have a good day.